How do you take your power back when somebody violates your boundaries? That's what we're going to talk about today. But first, if you're new, my name is Michelle Ferris. I'm a psychotherapist, and I love helping people create relationships without sacrificing their big hearts. So boundaries are big, and if you don't know how to set boundaries, especially with somebody who violates them, it's going to be really frustrating. Because boundaries are meant to protect us, okay? Your physical boundary is about protecting your physical space. Your emotional boundary is helping you feel emotionally safe and respected in your relationships. So where most people get lost is they think their boundary has to do with trying to get someone else to change, and it's not. So for a boundary to be successful, especially with those people who tend to violate your boundaries, is it has to be something you can control. Which means the boundary can't be a request or an ultimatum because you're so frustrated you don't know what else to do. Now, you can certainly make a request to ask somebody to change their behavior, or you can give them an ultimatum to change their behavior, but ultimately you don't have any control over the outcome because they can say no, right? The boundary, in order to be successful, has to be about you. So for instance, if it's something that someone's doing that's offensive, what are you going to do about it? Because ultimately, a boundary is more about what you're willing to participate in and when you're going to remove yourself. It's really that simple. It's about saying yes to an experience or saying no, because that sends a powerful message, and that's how you take your power back. So let's have an example. Your partner is making rude comments in front of your family. What do? So the first thing I want you to do is remember that when somebody is violating your boundaries by treating you poorly, it's not about you. I know it feels like it's about you because they're being hurtful, but think about it. Their behavior is much more indicative of who they are and what their own limitations are. It's not about you because most likely this person is violating boundaries all over the place, not just with you. Now, I know it's hard when it's your partner or a family member. It's really hard to detach from this. But what I want you to do instead is I want you to practice detaching. Remember, this is not about you. You may even say that. This is not about me. This is about them. I can take care of myself and leave. Because if you cannot take it personally and detach and realize that this behavior is much more about them than it is about you, that's going to help you take your power back. Now, the second one is use what's called a broken record technique. And this is super helpful. This is where you come up with a statement that just states your boundary and you repeat it. So in that instance where your partner is making insults or rude comments about you in front of your family, you might say something like, "This isn't working for me. This is hurtful. Let's change the subject." Now, if they keep going, use that statement again. I would do it maybe 2 or 3 times, because sometimes what happens when people violate our boundaries is that they never get any pushback. So they think they have control over the situation. They don't think they're going to be challenged. So when you use this broken record technique and say, "Hey, let's stop this. Let's go in another direction. Let's change the subject." If we're a little bit forceful and say it 2 or 3 times, then often the other person gets that message of, "Oh, wow, okay, they're actually not wanting to put up with this." And it gives them that limit that they need for themselves to realize that their behavior isn't okay. If it gets worse, here's your next step. You gotta leave, okay? If they persist in that behavior, that's when people think, "Oh my gosh, the boundary has failed. They're not listening to me." But again, the boundary has to be about what you do, not what they do. So at that point, you're going to leave. You may decide in certain family events or certain events that you know this could happen to take your own car or to make sure that you have a backup plan, a friend to pick you up, or use Uber. Because you being able to leave that situation is a very powerful boundary. Because again, the message you're sending is not that I'm going to stay and fight with you and have an escalated argument, but I'm not going to participate. So they don't get the audience they're wanting. Instead, you're able to just leave, and that sends a really powerful message when people are violating your boundaries, because that's the power you have to just not participate in it. And sometimes you may have to do this 2 or 3 times, but I guarantee if you actually leave the situation and even leave the house, you're not going to have to do that for very long. Now, again, if they get worse, if they get abusive, then that's another issue. That may mean that you may need help in your relationship and you may need to protect yourself and consider a separation or consider getting some professional help. Because if somebody is going to become more and more abusive, that's not a relationship that you need to stay in. And that's a private decision. So you're going to need to make that by figuring out how you can take care of yourself. So for the next step, I want you to go watch my video on when other people violate your boundaries, because that's your next step, to see my 3-step process on what to do so that you have even more instruction, because I know you can do this. It's not your fault that they're violating your boundaries. That doesn't mean you can't take care of yourself. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.